What's going on, everybody? How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Welcome back to another exciting, head-scratching episode of Insane Disappearances. As I told you before, I was going on vacation starting this past Friday, and I will be back on the 28th. Well, I decided I was going to go ahead and make a video while I was on vacation, so I am here now in beautiful Orlando, Florida, just enjoying myself, having fun. But at the same time, I had an itch for a new video, which was going to be about a very mysterious story that I'm pretty sure a lot of you have already heard of. In case you're wondering, that was my mom that just went by, so don't pay her no mind. She was looking at it real funny when she saw me making the video. She hates it when I do this for some reason. I don't know why. Because I've been talking about a lot of weird stuff. She thinks that's going to make me disappear. But we all know that's not going to happen, right? Exactly. But anyway, so, okay. Now, I don't know if any of you have even heard about this. Maybe you have. I'm not sure. But if you have, you're going to love this video. It is about the mysterious Brown Mountain Lights and the people that vanish in that area. I have heard so much about it, and ironically, me and my uncle was talking about that the other day because I found out that he bought some property in that area, and a relative of his was telling me, a lot of people be disappearing in that area. It's crazy, So we started talking more about it, and I was telling him about all the stuff that I talk about on my channel, So he said that he would check it out. So hopefully, I'll get some more feedback from my family, as far as them hooking up to my my YouTube channel. But anyway, tonight I'm going to talk about some of the weird goings on in the Brown Mountains of North Carolina and people that have been disappearing since 1200, the year 1200. Well, actually, not so much someone disappeared, but it was the very first account of the weird happenings in the Brown Mountains happened back in the 1200, with some Cherokee Indians and another rival, some rival settlers of Indians that were battling, with bows and horses and stuff like that. But anyway, but I'm gonna go ahead on and get right into it. Now, for centuries, people have been disappearing on and around Brown Mountain of North Carolina. Now, we believe the disappearances are directly linked to the Brown Mountain Lights, because whenever those lights appear, that's when people go missing. Now, local folklore is full of stories of people who have gone missing after witnessing the lights. Now, the first encounter dates all the way back to the Cherokee Indians around the year 1200. Now, according to Indian legend, a great battle was fought between the Cherokee and the Catawba Indians near Brown Mountain. Now, the Cherokees believed that the lights were the spirit of Indian maidens who went on search through the centuries for their loved ones who died in a battle. Now, one of the other famous legends of the Brown Mountain Lights was of a plantation owner. I think this happened, in 1850, I believe. He was a plantation owner who was hunting in the mountains, and he got lost. Now, some of the other people that may have known him sent his slaves out to look for him, and they were seen searching through the hills with lanterns, and they were never found. Now, there was another disappearance. Most of the disappearances actually inspired one of the most famous bluegrass songs, "Legend of the Brown Mountain Lights," written by Scott Wiseman in 1960s. Now, another legend was of a woman who disappeared around 1850. Okay, that's when it was. That was the era when it happened. Around 1850 was a woman that disappeared around that time. Now, the general suspicion was that her husband had killed her. Now, almost everybody in the community joined in the search of her, and one dark night when the search was on, the strange lights appeared, on the Brown Mountain. Now, some of the searchers thought that this was the dead woman's spirit come back to haunt the murderer and warn the other searchers to stop looking for her body. Now, the search ended without a trace of her body, and a large group of those searchers actually disappeared as well, and they were never found. So it's weird how you send people out to find one person, and them same people end up disappearing, and then you send out another search party to find them, and then they disappear too, which is very, very strange, So I think that there is something to all of this, where you hear about, the brown lights happening, and all of a sudden somebody disappears. It's very strange, but yet very, very intriguing for you to want to know. Now, I got a comment from one of my viewers who was saying, and this was out of the blue. She was saying that she was actually going into the Brown Mountains, the Brown Mountain area to visit a friend, and they were going to hike in that area. Apparently, she didn't know anything about what was going on over there, so I had to tell her. And I sent her a link to a Ancient Aliens video that aired on the History Channel about Vanishings, which covered a lot more than just the Brown Mountains, but the Brown Mountains was showcased in that episode. And so I sent her that link, and she did tell me that it was kind of spotty. So she said she was going to try and look for it herself. So hopefully she did. I sent her the information to look for, in order for her to find the video. That way she can check it out herself. But initially, I gave her some pointers on what to do when you're hiking in those areas. And it's the same thing that I talk about in every single video when I talk to you about what to do when you're in a national park or national forest. And that's all the do's and the don'ts of what David Paulides tells you about as far as carrying a gun. Don't travel alone. If you do travel with a group, don't get away from them and don't fall behind, because you would either one of those two, you will be the one to disappear. If you fall behind, or if you get away from someone, or if you get distracted and look off into the distance and walk off the trail, or you walk around the bend and all of a sudden you just vanish. But anyway, that is pretty much it on that. But there was a story that someone actually wrote about. It was one of his encounters with the Brown Mountain, and he actually wrote a story about it, and it was pretty intriguing. And it was a pretty good story. He was talking about basically how he wanted to go out into the Brown Mountains, and he wanted to actually go on a little excursion of his own. Kind of hike up there just to see the Brown Mountains. Now, when he drove up in there, it started to rain. Fall kind of came in through the mountains, and everything kind of covered a large portion of the area. The area that he was driving into with one of those Ranger, it was some sort of Jeep Wrangler. He was using that to get up in the mountains. So as he's driving up in there, he saw some headlights behind him, and he decided to pull over to see if he could get a chance to talk to that person, just to see if he was going to be going up into the mountains to see the brown lights, or the Brown Mountain lights. Come to find out that this person was actually the guy that just wanted to go into the mountains with his girlfriend. You know how they always want to go all lookout peak and make out, under the stars and all this stuff in their car, or have sex. It was that was always a real big thing in the 50s, where they want to go on Lookout Mountain or Lookout Peak and just look at the city lights and then end up having sex in the car. So that's basically what they was out there for. Because the guy, he was acting like he didn't want nothing to do with him, because he was interrupting their little alone time, right? So finally, when he went back down into the mountain, he kind of got a little lost, or he thought he did, because he didn't recognize some houses that he saw. But then he realized that he was in the area that he was trying to get to, and that's this lookout. I think I'm trying to remember. I think it was the Brown Mountain Lookout, because there was two different lookouts. There was it was called Blue Ridge. Wait, no. I'm sorry. That's the vehicle that he was driving. Let me see. Hold on. Give me 1 second here. I want to make sure I get that right. So if you guys actually go out there, okay, it's called Wiseman's View Out or Overlook. Okay, now the one that he was actually trying to get to was let's see, let me make sure I get that right, because it was pretty much in the same area. Let's see. It's not. I think it's just basically it's called Brown Mountain Lookout. I think. Cause like I said, it was two different lookouts. There was that one, and then there was, of course, the main one where he was trying to get to in the first place. But I guess he must have passed it on the way there because he knew it was getting dark. So, let me see. Okay, yeah, that should be coming up pretty soon. But anyway, like I said, that he finally got to the area where he wanted to actually get to in the first place, and it was basically the Brown Mountain Lookout, and that's where you see the lights, that shoot up from the mountain, from either on the side or on the back of the mountain. They shoot up in the air. They start making all these loopy turns and everything. They shoot back down into the ravine, and then they disappear. Sometimes you see them coming towards you, and then they disappear. And they have videos of this all over the internet. All you got to do is just type in Brown Mountain lights, and then you'll see these little lights. Like if they got them on night vision cameras, they show up on the camera blue or red. They try to figure out why is it they show up as blue when the night vision screen is always green, so anything that should show up on the screen would be green. But it's kind of like color coordination, if you ask me. Like say, how red and blue makes green, and yellow and blue makes green. I'm sorry, and red and blue. I think that makes. I don't know what that makes, but anyway, yellow and blue makes green and all that stuff. So I'm guessing that's what that's all about, and I don't know, but anyway, but yeah, so that was pretty much it with him. He just basically went to the wrong lookout, and then when he finally came back, he found it and saw a group of people. There was this one guy he was a young man with a southern drawl. And he was basically, it was pretty nice. He was a lot nicer than that last guy, that didn't want nothing to do with him because he was interrupting his little personal time with his girlfriend, which I understand where he was coming from in that area. I don't want nobody interrupting my time with my girlfriend either if I'm up there trying to do, right? So, but with him, he met this young man, and he was basically telling him about the lights and all that stuff. And then he met another group of people, which was a grandmother. And he said his name was Zimmer. That's all he said was his name was Zimmer. And then there was another group of people that he met. It was a young lady. It was a woman named Cindy. She was a grandmother who was out there with her grandkids, and they were running around and doing their thing, being kids. And she was basically letting him know what's going on. And it started after they actually, did what they had to do. They came up there to see the lights showed up and everything. After that, it actually started to rain. So they wanted to get out of the rain. And as they were driving off, they told him to be careful since you're going to be out here by yourself. Because people who see the lights tend to disappear when they're out there. And I'm guessing they didn't want him to be one of the ones that disappeared. That's why they told him to be careful. And obviously he did, because he wrote this article. And it was a pretty decent article. Very, very telling of his encounter with the brown lights. If you want to see it, you can go to Blue Ridge Outdoors. Go out, let me see what that actual site is called. What the actual site is called. But that's the name of the website, Blue Ridge Outdoors. And I guess you type in terror on Brown Mountain. But let me just make sure. Okay, it's called Brown Mountain something. Let's see. Oh yeah, Terror. I think it's called Terror on Brown Mountain. Yeah, it's called Terror on Brown Mountain. You type that in, and then it'll go right to that website, I would imagine. But yeah, it's pretty crazy stories with that. A lot of the accounts of people who disappear in the Brown Mountains. That not saying that there's not a lot, but it goes back for generations. All the way back to the 1700s. Of strange going on today, like with the brown lights, and then people the Brown Mountain lights, people disappearing, and all that stuff. And those ones that I mentioned earlier were the most famous ones because they were one of the first that actually were, talked about or put in a newspaper or whatever, or was wrote about. So they were pretty strange because they just up and vanished. Now, could it be alien abduction? Maybe. Could it be that these brown lights are capable of opening up wormholes to other dimensions or parallel Earths, or even a pathway that leads to another planet? I don't know. Could it be a Stargate? Maybe. Who knows? Because when you're talking about Indian settlers, there's a lot of stories of Indian settlers from way back when who actually go on the trip of a lifetime. And there's talk about like ancient Indians that actually went through a wormhole to travel to another planet and they never returned. There's stories about the Incas who have these chiefs who actually got a chance to travel that way by using some sort of ancient artifact. There was one of a gold, like a solid gold, it looked like a medallion, like a huge medallion with all these faces on it, and they used that to actually travel to another world. And it's like you put it in this stone wall. It's like a little slot where you can fit it in there, and all of a sudden this doorway opens up and they walk right through it, and then they're gone. They never. There's no. I think it was in some hieroglyphics on the walls of the Incan temple, and whoever that person was, the chief or whatever, they disappeared, or it was a chief or a shaman. So there's a lot of stories dealing with people who vanish under weird circumstances that we can't really understand but it was understandable to them because it happened in their time, and then they just up and vanished. And because they say the same thing about the Incan temple. There is nothing left as far as them even being there. Okay, now they have people who actually live there still, but they're not the ones that lived there from way back when. Those people were completely gone. It's like they deserted the entire village of the Incas, but the more research they did into their disappearance, they found out about a lot of other things, like these medallions that they used in order to travel to other worlds and stuff like that. And apparently the entire what do you call them? I'm having a brain fart today. The tribe, the Incan tribe, the entire tribe just vanished without a trace. And I did a couple of stories on these same type of disappearances in the past, where I talked about this ancient Eskimoan village where the entire village was just gone. Even the bodies of their dead relatives, were gone. And they said they were still stew cooking in a pot. So it obviously was recent, and this happened, I believe, in the 1930s. Now, okay, I want to clarify something that I said a while ago about a disappearance that happened with a young man who was taking a picture. He was doing the same thing as Charles McCullough. He was taking pictures of a lake in the middle of the winter. I said it happened in the early 1950s. I meant to say in the early 1930s. I think 1933 as a matter of fact. So I wanted to make sure I cleared that up. I already did a video on that a while ago, but I wanted to make sure I clarified that and cleared that up to make sure I didn't say anything wrong, which I did, of course. So, but yeah, it's very, very, very strange, people. And like I said, I didn't want to really get into too much because, like I said, I'm still on vacation, and I still wanted to make sure I got a good video out for you guys, because I have been thinking about what kind of video I could post, while I was here. And like I said, when me and my uncle was talking about the happenings in Brown Mountain, North Carolina, I said, that would be a good video to talk about. And I wanted to gather up the information I needed, which is some information I already knew about, but I wanted to make sure I got everything I needed for the video. And that it wasn't going to be too long of a video, since because I know most of the time when I watch certain videos when somebody's on vacation but they're still making a video, they make a short one just so they won't have to really get into too much, because they got so much they're doing on their vacation. They want to relax, which is exactly what I want to do. So I wanted to make this a little short video for you guys so that you know that I'm still thinking about you guys, and I'm trying to put these videos out. So I will probably make another one on my regular time, like on a Wednesday. But if I have time, I'll come up with some more stuff, and I may do another one tomorrow. But if not tomorrow, I'll do another one on Wednesday while I'm still here. You know, like I said, I didn't know if I was gonna bring my laptop, but you see, I have it right here with me on my vacation, so you know, I'm thinking about you guys. So my mom's looking at me real funny right now, but don't pay her no mind. But anyway, but yeah, so like I said, you know, I wanted to make sure you guys got some good, you know, stuff to look at, you know, while I'm out here doing my thing on my vacation. So, but yeah, that's all the time I got for this video. I will look into some more details about whatever else I can come up with. But to give you an update, I was talking about a young man named David Sorrell. I haven't found anything on him yet. So basically, that little information that I had about him from a Facebook page, that's the only information that I got on him as of yet. I haven't found anything else about him. I guess because the story is still fresh and it's probably still under investigation, which is the reason why they haven't said anything about it yet. But other than that, that's all I got. But I will keep you guys posted on him if I do find some more information on that young man. Because it's truly upsetting that someone's child has just disappeared, you know, and they don't have any idea of how he could have, you know, disappeared. So as soon as I find anything on him, you know, because all I gotta do is type in his name on the internet, and it would pop up if, you know, there's some new information about him. But haven't found that yet. But when I do, you guys will be the first ones to know. So you guys know how I do it, you know. So I'm gonna end it the way I always do. Aloha, mahalo, and hui ho. Peace out, guys. Hope you have a great night.